You're listening to Chillworthy.
A podcast where two best friends discuss mysteries, murders, and anything in between for your enjoyment.
So if you're ready to hear some chilling and unsettling cases, you're in the right place. Happy listening. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chillworthy with Brent and Talia.
Hi, everybody.
Hope everyone is doing great today.
Winter is big, at least
Yeah.
where we are in these parts.
Yeah, but I still feel, I switched out my wreaths.
Yeah,
You know.
same, actually. Spring is in the air still.
I agree, and I turned the heat off because I will not go back.
Yeah.
And it's not against winter. It's against, I'm not going back. You know?
Fair's fair.
When spring is done, I'm not going back to spring either. It's like you got to keep rolling with it.
Onward and upward.
Once I make my decision, it stands.
Freaking daffies are coming up. God, I love
Crocus.
seeing that. Yes, I saw one of those the other day. They're so freaking tiny and adorable. Yeah, birds are going bonkers out there. I do
course.
love those sounds. God, I love a nice bird sound. I heard a woodpecker today. Lovely.
I heard one as well.
Yeah.
So what books do you have?
I don't think I finished anything since we met last. I talked about Dead of Winter, that Blizzard show, or
Absolutely.
not show, Blizzard, nope, not movie, book. My gosh.
Yes, novel.
Thank you. Yes. And I said it was like horror. So I started The Better Sister, which I think I talked about last time, but I was just saying to you before we started how it's a show, I think on Prime. And I don't think it would be like your most favorite thing in the world, but I think just how suspenseful it is. It's about two sisters. I don't know about the show, how closely it follows the book, but this book, I'm a little past 50%. And two sisters, very unlike each other. I don't know how much is in this description. I don't want to like give away anything, but there's like a murder in the book.
If you're interested, just read it.
There is a murder, and the sisters basically come together again. Like they have a super dysfunctional history, and even like when they were kids, and then as adults, definitely not a good history. But they come together for this and to figure it out, and I like it a lot. It's a good mystery. It goes back and forth between Manhattan and the Hamptons, and there was something else I was going to say to you. Mystery. Oh, there's like a court scene situation going on with a trial, so it's good. I would definitely recommend it so far.
Thank you.
Surely. I forget if I talked about this or not yet. Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. Oh my God. There was so much hype about this book. It's a debut novel, and the cover is very weird. I want to show it to you. I've been seeing it, and that's like what really sucked me in. It looks like a little kid wrote it, like just, like a first grader, maybe younger. And it's hysterical so far, very dry humor, sarcastic, and it's about the Flynn family, and things are not good. They have 3 daughters that are kind of running amok. They're, I'd say, like late adolescents to teenagers. And then the parents are in like a strange kind of rut in their marriage. But then like the Catholic Church is kind of in the background too. And then you like get the perspective of this priest. And there's just so much dysfunction in this book. I'm very, very early on. I'm almost at 20%. But it's just very funny. I'm definitely enjoying it. Lighter, And then I just started, I am obsessed with this already, and I'm only 10% in. It's called The Names by Florence Knapp, Knapp. Oh my God, the concept of this book has me so sucked in. So it starts, it's 1987, and it's Cora, this woman who's married to Gordon. And you get the vibe that it's not the best marriage. You don't totally know what's going on yet. And they just had a baby. So she is supposed to be going to the registrar's office to register the baby's name. They're in England. And the expectation is that the baby is getting named Gordon after the father and then after his father. Mm-hmm. And this husband seems like someone you really would not want to cross. So that's like being made clear to you. So the way the rest of the book goes is her naming this baby 3 different things and the course of their lives for the next 30 years, depending on what name she went with. So like, say it was like Colin, Joseph, and Bill. Like, depending on what name she chooses, the trajectory of their lives and their marriage and they have another child. They have a 9-year-old daughter. The way his reaction to this I wasn't even like clear on what was happening at first because I hadn't read the description in so long, but I just really wanted to read this book and get started. So I'm reading it and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then I was like, oh my God, I get it. And I think it's such a brilliant concept. I just can feel it in my bones that it's going to be a freaking fantastic book. I'm so sucked in already.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah. Not necessarily.
Just high praise for me to say. From
It
something
is.
you've been talking about.
Right.
So yeah.
I don't think you would necessarily.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But I like the concept of it.
Yes, same.
It's like the multiverse.
What's that?
Like different universes.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And
Now,
that's all I got. Yeah.
You have talked about how you sort of like sci-fis now all of a sudden. Like, you're reading sci-fis and stuff and you continuously say, I like sci-fis, which I really don't. But I did read a sci-fi years ago, years and years ago. But I still think about it. It was a really good book. And I want to say it was by Blake Crouch.
And you still think about it years later. That's
Dark
the sign
Matter.
of a good book. Hold on 1 minute. Dark Matter. Is it a zombie book?
No. He's like a scientist. And it's all about that like Schrodinger's cat concept.
I'm not familiar.
It's like that quantum physics concept where it's like if you put a cat in a box and you give it like 2 cans of tuna, but one of them is poison. And so when the cat is in the box, quantum physics says the cat's both dead and alive because nobody's opened the box to look if the cat is dead or alive. Like, both possibilities still exist. It ate that can of tuna or it ate that can of tuna. Nobody knows. And because nobody's witnessed it, both realities are happening.
Okay.
I can see you're lost, but...
I'm mostly there, but semi-lost.
So, it's just saying there's infinite realities out there. Like, there's a reality where we never did the podcast. There's a reality where you stay awake while I'm talking on the podcast. Just crazy things that happen. So that kind of thing. So it's like the book is he's a scientist and he develops like a device where he goes into it and he kind of ends up shifting reality around him, and then when he comes out, things are different than when he went in. So he's like traversing a lot of different things and trying to figure out stuff. I thought it was a great book.
Sounds spooky.
I mean, spooky. I wouldn't say scary, though.
Right.
So, I don't
Okay.
know. I think it was a very good book.
It
I
got
would
good reviews on Goodreads.
recommend it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Oh, sure.
4.13 on Goodreads.
Yeah, I loved it.
Wow.
You did? Yes. All right, so the case we have today, I did. And
Thank you.
Sure. It's a case from 1996.
Oh, I like that time period.
And it is about a veterinarian named Bryan Rein, Rein.
R-E-I. Like a horse's rein. Like a horseback riding rein.
I guess.
R-E-I-N. Isn't that ironic? Veterinarian, and that's how he spells his last name. And may I say, with that profession, a hero.
Of course. Bryan grew up in a small town. It was a place called Scott City, which is in Kansas. And he was like that kind of city was where they had a lot of those 4-H events.
Tornado Illy.
4-H?
No.
It surprises me that you weren't.
I don't think they offered it. Because I feel like I would have been down for that.
Who's they?
What did I say? What did I say?
I just asked if you were ever involved in 4-H, and you said they didn't offer it. Who?
Oh,
it's
my
the
school.
4-H people.
Oh, I thought it goes by.
No, my parents tried to like get me into that. Like that was like a separate thing.
Oh, it has nothing to do with school.
No, I was too antisocial for that.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was only affiliated with schools.
No, I don't think so.
So do farms?
Excuse me? I don't
Ru-
know. This was at like a wildlife center.
Well, that sounds like an amazing experience. I'm serious.
Didn't say you weren't.
How many years did you do it?
I didn't.
Oh, you
They
didn't?
tried. The same with Cub Scouts.
Oh.
I went there, I think like twice, and I cried.
Oh.
That was it.
I wanted to cry. I remember being a brownie. I liked that, if my memory serves me correctly, which it typically doesn't, so I'll have to ask my mom. But brownies, I'm pretty sure I loved. And then Girl Scouts, I did not make it long at all. And I don't know if it changed where my mom stopped going and that she was there for brownies, or the girls definitely changed. And I did not like the new crew. And I was nervous. I was a little nervous Nelly. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm baring my teeth. It just wasn't friendly waters anymore. There was a shift. Now, are there brownies? Like, did you have a version of the brownies before girls? Like before being a Cub Scout, Boy Scout? You know what I'm saying?
I think.
Oh,
I
Cub
think
Scout is
Cub
brownies.
Scouts were that.
Yes, I see. Okay. Did you have little sashes with?
I don't.
What do
I
you
didn't
say?
get
Patches.
I wasn't one. This is what I'm saying. I remember we went to like a Halloween Cub Scout party. I bawled my eyes out.
You little pumpkin.
So I didn't
Yeah.
want to do that shit.
No. There's
I wanted to
a
watch the
tone.
Golden Girls.
It might have been Eureka's Castle at that point, and not the
Well,
GGs
true. Who
yet.
knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I was watching them very young.
Wow, yeah. I was, but not independently. Well, I certainly
Not
wasn't allowed, I'm sure. But wait, that just reminded me of something. Did you watch Inspector Gadget? I feel like we talked about
Yeah,
it.
I liked him.
Oh, did you? I thought that was one that you said was Trish. I
did
swore
not.
we had that discussion.
No.
The niece. Do you remember her name? I was
Penny.
Yes, I was thinking about her the other day. Now, do you remember her dog's name? Because I don't.
No.
And I didn't look it up, so I don't know either.
I remember the villain had that white cat. Wasn't it a white cat?
Vaguely. Was there like a robe involved or something?
I don't think you ever saw the man's face.
Oh, I thought you did. You know, that's on actually two things. That's on Pluto, Inspector Gadget, and so is Doug.
Uh-huh.
Remember Doug, Little Pork
course.
Chop? God, I loved that show.
I just saw a
yeah.
thing on TikTok, like nostalgia for the Muppet
Oh.
Babies.
Oh, now that was
Excuse
the
me?
cartoon.
Yes.
Rolf.
Yes.
I did
I thought
enjoy
that was
that.
so damn cozy that they had that huge room to them. I never knew what was happening there.
Neither did they.
Where did the Muppets come from? Did their parents actually drop them off and Nanny was just there, or were they
Aliens. They were aliens.
all right, but I'm saying, you know, like, was Nanny their actual parent?
Nanny, no. I can't. Oh, I
And
see
they
what
never
you're saying.
They
though.
never showed her above her. I can't speak above her socks. She had those green and purple socks. Striped
They were.
Socks.
I was just gonna say they were lined, striped, whatever. Yeah, kind of like a Muppet herself.
I don't think she was a Muppet. Anyway,
Don't know, though. Wait, that just made me think of something else. You did or did not watch Fraggle Rock?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember them being in the wool and the dog looking
Oh, that
into
freaking
the pool.
sweet dog. My mom was obsessed. I liked Fraggle Rock as a kid too, but my mom, that was like one of her freaking top shows. And I got her a little shirt.
Back to this.
Right, Brian.
Yes.
In
So
Tornado Alley.
lots of 4-H stuff, because from the way his family described it, he wasn't the kid who found his calling later. He basically knew it from the start that he wanted to be a veterinarian, hence
Wow.
being involved with 4-H, and that's what he stuck with.
What did you want to be as a child?
A veterinarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I realized I didn't like science. And I remember being in college, and
You were that far into school, like
well, I went for pre-vet.
I never
My
knew
first year,
that.
my first and only year doing that. And I remember going to those science labs, and I hated it with a passion. And like, you're slicing open baby sharks and shit. I hated that.
Baby sharks.
So,
May
and
they
like,
rest in
you're like
peace.
experimenting on fruit flies and a bunch. Like, that's not for me.
Isn't
that is
that
not
fascinating?
for me.
No, that
anyway.
is not you at all.
No.
No.
So after he finished vet school, he goes west from Kansas to Montana, which I just saw last night, a beautiful tiny home village in Montana.
You love these tiny homes.
It's almost like a lullaby to me at this point. Not a lullaby, but like it's
Very
like
soothing.
an ASMR. I mean, this video talked all about the tiny home village, and it interviewed a couple of the people there, like 2 guys who have been together for like 35 years, and they retired there, and they are just talking about how like much they love it. And then it was like this woman and her dog, and then it was like this really young couple who were like the youngest of the bunch, and they were just getting their tiny house set up, and how they were like, it was in the mountains, and there's such a community of people, and like everybody knows everybody and their dogs, and
Like a nice lullaby, like you said.
yeah, it's just a wind down.
I, know nothing about tiny homes except for what you tell me. And I just never knew it was a thing where they have communities like this. I thought, I don't know what I thought,
don't think
really.
they have them on this area of the country as much. I think it's more in the middle of the country.
Like a
For some reason, like
Midwest.
Texas has a lot of them.
Oh.
But North Carolina and South Carolina have a lot. And then like that rocky, mountainy region for
They
some reason.
have, yeah.
Yeah, but so anyway, I'm going to try to get into this.
Sorry.
That was me. That's on me. That's on Ashley. Okay, so after he finishes vet school, he goes to Montana. He wants wide open country. He's interested in working like around a ranch, like Skinwalker Ranch, maybe.
Oh my gosh, don't even say it.
So by 1995, he gets set up at a practice in Geraldine. So it's a tiny cattle and wheat town. Some people describe it as a quote-unquote speck on the map. A speck. With a population of around 300.
300 people.
So that's tiny.
Tiny. That's like some high schools.
Right.
Wow.
So starting a rural practice meant doing what new small town professionals often do, which is taking basically whatever housing you can get, keeping very low overhead and building trust, but basically like one client at a time, so he can get word of mouth that he's a good veterinarian, blah, 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 blah.
He would potentially be like the only show in town with such a small population. I mean, was there another vet?
Well, I don't know, but I assume that these animals were being taken care of by someone.
Good call before he was on the
Right.
scene. Yeah, maybe they had to go to the next town over.
Maybe. So he lived outside town in a modest single-wide trailer. The locals called it a bunkhouse.
A bunkhouse.
And the way people talked about him later, like his patients and family and stuff, was that he was fit. Oh, sorry, that he was fit. That he fit in fast. I was going to say, well, good that he was fit.
Odd detail
Sounds
they were
nice.
mentioning.
He was smart, personable, and genuinely devoted to animals. So, well, anyway, that all sounds lovely.
Right.
So, and the fact that they were saying he fit in is important because obviously with the type of podcast this is, we know something bad happened to the man. So when something like
good
that
call.
happens to a guy in a small town, it doesn't really stay private, and there's a bunch of shock and stuff that happens. So this is kind of where things start happening. So there was a sort of like a relationship happening.
Between him and someone.
Well, yeah. Yes. Him and someone and someone.
Uh-oh. A
So-
love triangle.
Well, sort of. I mean, it was him, a woman, and her ex.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
So now the woman at the center of this relationship dynamic was Anne Wishman. So in later interviews, she described meeting Bryan at a local spot called Rusty's Bar.
The rusty
Busty.
anchor.
Yes. And she was struck by the obvious question, what is this handsome veterinarian doing in this small town? So they talked, they clicked, and it moved kind of quickly.
Uh-oh.
But there was an immediate complication because she had a she had a live-in boyfriend.
Oh, I'd call that a complication. Yes. Goodness.
Thomas, I can't even begin to pronounce this. Jarakzinski. Jaraczzeski.
I think that was a good
Fine.
attempt.
Well, Thomas J.
Thomas, like in My Girl.
Never saw it.
I feel like we've talked about this.
Probably. I don't even know what that means.
Macaulay Culkin's character who passes away in the movie. It is
about the boy who needs his glasses. He can't see without his glasses.
and the bees.
No, I've still never seen it, but I've seen a clip of people using that audio.
Oh, it's
People are sad
absolutely
about it.
awful. Yes.
I still, shocker everyone, we still never had our fun day. By the way, it's a month later. Just for anybody who's paying attention. But I wait patiently. But still, one of the movies that I know I want to show you Wicked, but one of the other movies that's a blast from the past that I really, really want to show you because it has everything you like and you've never seen it, which is just shocking to me, is still The Page Master.
I just shrugged for all of
Yes.
you at home. I don't even know what it is. I don't.
It's a 90s
I love the 90s.
animated, kind of. It's also real.
Oh, it's a
life.
little bothy.
Yeah, but it's more animated. And Macaulay Culkin is the star.
Love him.
And it's all about books, literature.
Is it the Sword and the Stone?
No, it's the Page Master. And the Page Master is played by the guy,
In Home Alone, who shovels?
the guy, the scary man from Dennis the Menace. You know who I'm talking
The
about.
homeless man.
Right, the guy who takes that apple.
Yes, with the
I know
knife.
he's in other things as well, but
Oh my God, I can see him. He was in. He isn't that. Oh my God.
the guy, he's from the Addams Family as well.
Yes, it's gonna drive
Whoever
me
that is.
crazy. I need to look this up right now. I can see. I have like Steele in my head as his last name, and it's not. Oh, hold on.
I'm wondering where I know him from so well, but I don't know.
That movie.
Christopher something?
Lloyd, thank you. Thank you
Oh,
so
Christopher
much.
Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it's all about literature. I mean, obviously it's a kids movie, but the fact that it has these people in it that you like, it's from the era that you like. Whoopi Goldberg, I told you, voices somebody.
Oh.
And it's just this cute, very, in my opinion, Fern Gully-esque feel. Like, it's
say
not
no
Disney.
more.
It's not Disney, but it's Disney adjacent. So anyway. Okay.
Real quick, I feel. Were you ever a Back to the Future person? Because he's from that.
That is where, okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
I
There we
was
go.
never a Back to the Future person. Real quick, this is saying that Dennis the Menace cast Natasha, however you say her last name from Orange is the New Black, she's in Dennis the Menace.
I couldn't say.
As whom?
All right.
Yeah, I'm in the weeds big time.
Okay, so this handsome veterinarian, he meets Anne, who lives with Thomas.
Thomas J.
Yes. So by Anne's account, her and Thomas had problems. Well, I would assume.
I would hope yeah. I mean, not that I hope, but like I would hope clearly things were not okay
Right.
if she's flittering about.
But it was still the long shared history kind of relationship that people often assume will end in marriage until it doesn't. So she ultimately broke up with him and moved back to her family's farm near the town. So now, across multiple accounts that later made it into the major media coverage, Thomas's behavior after the breakup was described as obsessive and escalating. He repeatedly called and would just hang up, not only to Anne, but also to Bryan. So he knew, I mean, it was a small town. He obviously knew what was going on.
Yeah.
He would also show up at odd hours, and he would, like, snoop around. He would,
The
cross.
property?
Yeah, he would, like, cross into their property type of thing. According to later reporting, he entered her home once while the family was away and read her diary.
Oh.
Then he quoted it back to her.
My mouth is gaping
Yeah,
open.
you don't like this shit.
Oh my God. Now, how old are all these people?
And he wanted to, I don't even know if it said how old Anne was. Or and it certainly didn't say how old Thomas was.
Because I'm thinking.
And it didn't say how old Bryan was. So, and I can't look that up right now.
Okay. I'm imagining either like.
Well, not 60s. I'm
Well,
thinking about.
I don't even think 20s if he's a veterinarian, like he's done with all that school. So typically.
Well, but they said a young, handsome veterinarian. So I'm thinking like 28 to 33, maybe somewhere in there. Who the
early
hell? How
30s.
do I know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so he broke in, read her Bible, read her diary, quoted it back to her because he wanted to prove to her that he could still reach into her private life whenever he wanted.
And he sure did.
He certainly did. So there were other also unsettling moments people around Bryan had remembered. There was a rock that was thrown through a window at his clinic, and a footprint. Ay, ay, ay. This isn't going to be edited out, everyone. This is me.
Good for you, man.
And a footprint found outside afterwards. So now those details didn't solve anything, but they contributed to a sense that something had shifted from an awkward breakup drama into something more ominous.
Yeah. Unstable. Ulysses over there.
Talia is really locked in. She's not even yawning. One incident that stands out in later retellings is the ride that Anne said she took with her then ex in his pickup truck. A ride in which she said he kept driving, he would not let her out of the car, and she seriously considered jumping from the moving truck into a ditch just so that she could get away.
Why were they in the same car together
I
after
knew you
all
were going to
that?
ask me that. I don't know.
Oh.
Afterward, she said she felt safer staying overnight with Bryan rather than being alone. So that's the kind of detail that later sounds like foreshadowing because it shows that fear wasn't just hypothetical anymore. Like it wasn't like, what if he does something? Because he was doing shit. Woven through this was the thing that investigators and jurors later heard again and again about this threats that were being made, this fixation he had with them, that kind of thing. In later interviews and courtroom testimony, Anne had said she remembered a line that stuck with her. An angry warning from Thomas, obviously, that if she ever cheated, he'd, quote, kill him and kill her too.
Said that to her.
That's what she says. I mean, I don't know if he wrote it down, but that's what she's saying.
Well, dare I say, listening to all of this, like, once you kind of introduced her on the scene and that, oh, P.S., she has a live-in boyfriend and now she's starting to canoodle with Bryan. It is interesting to me, and I'm not at all wishing harm on this woman, but it's interesting that, like, I assume, obviously don't say yet, but that she survived. Like, it's making me assume that it sounds likely that she lived, but that Bryan obviously did not, and that they weren't both. Not even so much that they weren't both killed, but that, like, she was not specifically killed.
Guess we'll see.
Knowing that this whole love triangle thing, that, like, she was somehow spared, I guess, potentially.
So now we get to the part of the story where everything hinges on a timeline that's both central but also very, like, imperfect. So Bryan drives to a town called Bozeman on July 10th, 1996. He's going there to attend a conference. He returns home on Friday, July 12th. After that Friday evening, no one could reliably place him alive again after that. There was phone activity that later mattered a lot. In one strand of reporting, phone records indicated that the last time Bryan received a phone call was around 10:15 p.m. Friday night. For that night, with looking at phone records, first there was a hang-up call around 9:45 p.m. One is assuming to confirm that Bryan was home.
I did not think of that.
Then another call to a different location, which I'm assuming was to Anne's house, to confirm she wasn't with Bryan. Because if she's picking up at her house,
They're not
they're
together.
not together. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then a late phone call happened from Anne to Bryan around 10:40 p.m. And then during that call, she had said that Bryan got off the phone abruptly as if like he heard someone or like somebody was at the door, something like that. So either way, the essential point of all this, though, is the same, that after late Friday night, in terms of interacting with Bryan as a live human being, things just stop. No one interacted with him after Friday night. So now, but no one knows anything is wrong at that point either. So now it's 2 days later, Sunday, July 14th, 1996. People around Geraldine realized something was wrong. A local woman, Marlene, she calls 911 after her husband went to check on the veterinarian.
Finally, it took someone 2 days.
Well, in the chaos of that first call, it was described as a suicide. So he said the veterinarian shot himself and that there was blood everywhere and emergency services were dispatched to the trailer. But when first responders arrived, what they found did not sit right with everybody on the scene. In later retellings, the body was described lying on its back on the kitchen floor. There was a .357 Magnum nearby, and on one foot, there was a water shoe, like the kind you would wear when you're fishing, while the other foot had nothing on it.
Like a water shoe that kids wear when they go to the beach so
Yeah.
they don't cut their
I
feet
don't
on
think they meant like
rocks.
one of those like
Dock.
long boots. I don't think so. But maybe, I don't know. So almost immediately though, witnesses and family members noticed details that suggested that a struggle had happened, not suicide. He had ripped clothing, there were injuries to his face, and blood patterns that didn't read like a self-inflicted death. So
This is
here-
bad. This is bad.
You don't need lightning to strike you.
Now, there were other trailers around it. Was he in a community or he was like out in a field?
I think he was kind of by himself. So, of course, there were some early mistakes at the scene.
Of course.
Later reporting described the sheriff's deputies treating it as a suicide at first. So, what did they do? They cleaned up the blood.
They wasted time. They cleaned up the blood.
Cleaned up the blood with towels. They threw away items.
Since when do the police departments clean? They're like known for making messes when they come onto a scene.
I don't know.
And this crew's cleaning.
How
kind of them.
And not doing the kinds of early swabs and collections that today people would expect as standard. So that included throwing away a phone handset found under Bryan's head without first swabbing for DNA or dusting for any kind of fingerprints. By the time a state investigator arrived the next day, some potentially important evidence was already gone for good. Investigators did still piece together some physical facts from what remained, though. They saw blood drops on the doorstep outside the trailer, suggesting the shooting began or continued at the door. They found 2 bullets lodged in the kitchen cupboard, consistent with shots that went through an arm and into the interior structure.
His arm, Bryan's arm.
Yes.
So obviously this is not a suicide.
Well, yeah.
There's gunfire going
There's
all
gunfire.
over. I mean,
And crucially, for later courtroom arguments, an autopsy could not provide a clean, defensible time of death. And in fact, later reporting said the pathologist left the time of death space blank.
blank.
Blanco.
Even like an approximation of hours, like how.
Blank. All right, so now.
What if Johnny B, what's his name? Tommy
Thomas.
J, Thomas J. What if he was connected to somebody on the police department who was kind of.
What if?
Right.
So now we have Bryan, who's now deceased, a very messy timeline, a compromised murder/suicide scene. Investigators fell back on something that often drives rural homicide investigators, which was behavior, motive, and opportunity. So now Thomas became a glaring person of interest quickly. He'd been the ex-boyfriend with documented jealousy and boundary violations, and by his own late admission, he didn't have an alibi for Friday night. In recorded interviews later described in broadcast reporting, he acknowledged that he did call Bryan that Friday evening, saying that his intention was to tell him he had no grudges against him. But when Bryan picked up, he chickened out and he hung up.
No, Mr. Nice Guy.
The detective's view was very blunt. He was like, you called the victim late on the night the victim likely dies. You admit that you don't have an alibi. You've been stalking the victim's girlfriend for months. Like, hello.
All signs
Right.
point to. Wow.
Investigators also focused on an oddly convenient detail. Thomas said he hurt his back that same Friday night after falling from a pickup truck, then went to the hospital the next day for treatment. Prosecutors later argued that detail fit neatly with a physical struggle and a getaway. The defense framed it as an ordinary injury being retrofitted into a story. Either way, it was one of those circumstantial puzzle pieces that never really went away. But the early case had a persistent problem. There was no forensic stuff.
Right.
Searches and lab work didn't turn up any kind of definitive trace evidence that people feel more comfortable with, like fingerprints, DNA, anything like that. But then came a detail that changed the investigators' theory of the murder mechanics: a missing gun case and a holster that was found outside. So a week after Bryan was buried, his sister visited the trailer and realized something that hadn't been clear to police. The handgun was typically kept in a case. I guess he had a handgun, and it was kept in a case that Bryan had made, and that case was missing. A property search followed, and a leather holster marked with Bryan's initials was found in the tall grass about 84 feet from the door. Investigators took this to support a specific scenario that someone had entered the trailer while Bryan was away, because remember, he was away for those 2 days.
Right, first trip.
Found his gun, took the gun with the case, later then returned with that same gun to kill Bryan, and then ditched the gun in the holster outside as the confrontation began. Ditched the holster outside as the confrontation began.
Because the gun was inside with the body. Which, using his own gun, I don't know if the way that they thought it was a suicide at first, it doesn't sound like anything was staged to be a suicide. But if that's what the murderer's intention was, to then use his own gun on him, kind of fits that.
Right.
I obviously don't think it was a suicide, but yeah.
Now, to try to bridge the gap between suspicion and proof, the investigators also relied on a tracking dog.
Oh.
A bloodhound whose name was Calamity Jane.
Stop it. Oh, that saint. Hard at work.
In the account,
she's a good girl.
Later described, the dog was allowed to smell Thomas's cap and then tracked from the doorway to the holster area and toward bushes that investigators believed he could have been hiding in. And in 1998, that dog became a centerpiece, arguably, for taking this case to, basically charge someone with this.
Yeah.
So, in court, defense attorney Bob Peterson challenged the handler's qualifications and documentation. The story that emerged later in public reporting was almost darkly absurd. When asked for paperwork showing certification and training, the handler said that the documents had been left on top of the vehicle and they blew away.
Oh, come on.
They blew away.
And there's... those were the originals?
Quit. That's what it sounds like here.
Oh, my gosh. Well, this is An embarrassment.
of riches. So the judge ultimately excluded the dog evidence.
Yeah, which is outrageous, and that is totally the handler's fault. Oh my gosh.
And without that, the state dismissed the case explicitly without prejudice, meaning that it wasn't barred from being filed again later.
Oh.
So that's a pivotal legal moment because it's the hinge that makes the 2 decades later prosecution possible. So 2 decades later.
Which is so frightening to me. Like, of course there's delays in the legal system, but delays like that, hopeless.
So after 1998, the story becomes what we often call a cold case. Years of life happening on top of an unresolved death. In later reporting, Anne described leaving the state and she settled in Arkansas, still feeling fear and guilt tied to the idea that jealousy over her might have triggered Bryan's killing. Meanwhile, Thomas tried to build a new life elsewhere. By 2014, he was living in South Dakota, while reporting placing him most recently in Brandon, and Montana prosecutors described him as 41 years old at the time of his arrest.
Wow.
So, which means he at least was in his early 20s.
Yeah.
So what changed in those 20 years that made it that he was arrested? So one major shift was bureaucratic. Brant Light became, in 2009, the top prosecutor in Montana at the Attorney General's office, with responsibilities that included supporting rural counties with difficult prosecutions, including cold cases. In later public accounts, investigator Ken Thompson, a longtime case investigator, asked him to take another look at this case. The state's approach, as later described, was not, we found the magic new DNA sample, but rather we reviewed, rechecked witnesses, and evaluated whether this case could be tied beyond a reasonable doubt. Evidence was reportedly resubmitted for lab analysis, and witnesses were re-interviewed after the years passed, which always fascinates me. How do they find these people again? How do these people, like what was that one about the kid? I don't know if it was kids or teenagers who disappeared from that shopping mall, and like 25 years later, they're like, well, we're going to reconstruct this. And we found all these witnesses again. What the hell are you talking about?
Seriously, though, how is that possible? And I feel like, obviously,
how can you even believe it?
What?
Like,
that it's
like
factual.
they remember.
Yeah,
I
can barely remember yesterday.
It's like, I'm just saying, like, if, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a trip you took last week, and they're going to be like 25 years from now. Now, when you were at that Sheetz getting coffee, you remember seeing that man there? What? No, I don't, actually.
Well, and it's like if something crazy was, I suppose, happening then, but it's like half the time when you're witnessing something, you don't know what the hell you're witnessing. You don't know that that's going to be a huge, crucial detail.
Of course.
Like that impacts, I think, your memory, of course. And just, I don't know, a normal person doesn't have a terribly great memory.
You're right. All right, so now we're nearly 18 years after this murder took place. The case starts coming back into motion. In late April 2014, Montana prosecutors issued a new arrest warrant charging Thomas, again, with deliberate homicide.
Tummy's boy.
Right. He was arrested in Sioux Falls and waived extradition. What does that mean? So
he waived being brought back. Like as far as I know, he waived to like stay in whatever Dakota he was in instead of being extradited back to where it would have occurred in Kansas, I think.
So, but what does that matter?
So like, I would think that you would be concerned, like if he was like, if he went back to Kansas, you have the likelihood of people being less sympathetic to him.
That's what I thought.
And being more familiarized with the circumstances
to
pick a jury. I didn't know that either. I didn't know that was a thing. Because really that kind of benefits him, I would think, to not go back there.
Well, yeah. So anyway, he waives that. Public statements at the time were saying that the Montana Department of Justice would not say what new evidence existed, if any, and the revived prosecution was described publicly as the result of prosecutors taking another look at the case. So they were very, cautious. It means voluntarily giving up the right to a formal hearing or legal challenge to being returned to another state or country to face those criminal charges.
So then he waived being brought back to Kansas? And he's just going to stay in whatever Dakota he's in?
I think we had it backwards. What it's saying is he waived, before he was moved, he could have had a formal hearing to get him moved back. And he said, I don't need the formal hearing. Let's just go.
Oh,
it's a way to
okay.
make things go
Quick.
faster. Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Now, we're in 2015 at a court in Fort Benton. In Montana, deliberate homicide is defined in state law as purposefully or knowingly causing the death of another human being. And the statute also includes certain felony murder circumstances. In other words, the jury wasn't being asked whether Bryan's death was tragic or suspicious. Well, I would hope they're not asking that. They were being asked whether the state proved beyond a reasonable doubt that it was Thomas who intentionally killed him. I mean, could you imagine if that was how people defined murder? Was this sad? That's doesn't make any sense.
No. Nee.
So the trial was held in September 2015 in Fort Benton. Reports later emphasized the atmosphere of the courtroom, two families on opposite sides of the room, a small community audience, and the burden of trying a 19-year-old case where the physical scene itself had long vanished. On the prosecution side, basically the narrative they were going with was a jealousy-driven plan carried out with care. Bryan is away at a conference. Somebody enters the trailer, locates his gun, later comes back with it, calls him before coming back to confirm he's home, calls Anne, confirming she's home so that they're not together. An ATV is seen moving along the rural road. God, I hate when those two words are together.
Say that 3 times fist.
I can't. The killer waits in the bushes. Anne calls Bryan, and while she's on the phone with him, that's when his call ends abruptly because, quote-unquote, something was wrong. He heard something. Somebody was at the door. Then there's a confrontation at the back door. 2 shots go through, his arm during a struggle that go into the kitchen cabinets, and then a fatal chest shot, and then whomever did this escapes. That's what they're saying.
Don't you find it interesting that Bryan didn't have a dog? Not to say that a dog
No, I didn't find that interesting.
would have saved him, but as a veterinarian and he's living alone, he's out in the wild, not the wild, but the plains. You think he'd have a dog?
Maybe he wasn't home enough.
True.
I couldn't
But he
say.
could take the dog with him. I just find that odd. No. But who am I?
So because the lead cold case prosecutor, he was battling a type of lung cancer at the time.
Oh.
The trial presentation was handled by 2 deputies, Dan and Mary. I'm not even going to try to say their last names. I can't. Dan G and Mary C. Their problem was obvious and never really went away, that the case was almost entirely circumstantial. There was no DNA. There was no fingerprints. There was no physical trace of Tommy being there. Is he suspicious? Sure, but if you don't have any proof, I don't understand what's going on here.
Well, and it's like you're allowed to not have an alibi too. He didn't have one. Doesn't look great, but that does happen. I mean, there were among everything else, obviously, the fingertips, the fingerprints.
Yes.
Lack of DNA, but also I think it's not like it's current times and they don't have those things. It was a time where it wasn't possible. So Tommy could be all over there. Although the dog, well, see, and then the dog, all of Calamity Jane's nonsense that certainly is not her fault.
I agree.
That freaking handler with his paperwork blowing around in the breeze.
So
Wow.
now we have the defense, of course, and we have Peterson. He's joined by co-counsel Jennifer S. They leaned very hard into the absence of any, proof.
Curse.
And, of course, those early crime scene mistakes.
May I ask,
No.
has
So jurors,
Timmy been in any trouble over the last 20 years? Nose
not
clean?
that I saw, didn't say anything.
Laying low. Keep going, jurors.
Jurors heard about this, the scene being treated as a suicide, the blood being cleaned up, and the potential evidence, like the telephone handset, being discarded without even trying to process it for fingerprints or DNA. The defense framed this as basically the original mistake of this case. Like, once the scene was compromised, too bad, so sad, everybody.
Right.
Like, you guys did it. What do you want us
Not
to
our
do about
problem.
it? Right. And then, of course, the biggest factual dispute comes up because if you remember, which I'm sure you will, what was not put down on the paperwork?
Oh, time of death.
Yes. Not even window. No. So people were like, well, when did Bryan actually die? I mean, we don't know if he died Friday night. How the hell are we supposed to know? They don't even know.
No.
You know? So the state's theory placed death late Friday night, which is conveniently when Thomas did not have an alibi. But they're just shooting in the dark, no pun intended.
Right.
So the defense countered this by attacking the timeline of the death, basically. 2 local men testified that they saw Bryan eating dinner around 7 p.m. Friday night at a bar in Square Butt. It was called the Square Butt Country Club.
Yikes.
The Haymaker detail. I don't even know what Haymaker means.
I
But
think a haymaker's a drink, isn't it? No, maybe
it says
not.
the Haymaker deal was what they say he had consumed. Deal, not drink. Doesn't matter. The detail here was that he had steak, they claimed. Defense expert argued that if he had eaten steak at 7 and died around 11 p.m., steak should still be present in his stomach.
Wouldn't be digested.
But the autopsy described different food in his stomach. They described scrambled eggs, peppers, and tomatoes.
Well, that sounds like an
breakfast
omelet.
to me. Sounds like breakfast time if you're asking me.
So then they completely misjudged.
I'm just saying, and like we said, the coroner, he did not give any time of death. So prosecutors countered that digestion can vary between people.
It can. People like breakfast for dinner also.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be seen eating steak.
Having his haymaker. So then that story was fake.
No, what I think the defense is saying, hey, we have 2 people here who said he was here at 7 o'clock and he ordered steak. Now you're, meaning the state, is telling us that he was shot 3 hours later. But guess what? There's no steak in his stomach. And in fact, there's, as you so nicely said, an omelet.
An omelet.
A Denver omelet. Anyway.
What was it? Tomatoes, peppers, and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Tomatoes, peppers, and eggs.
So the defense was saying that there was definitely reasonable doubt that this murder even happened on a Friday night when everybody was saying it did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the defense is wrong.
I agree.
For arguing this kind of stuff. So finally, the defense didn't just argue that there wasn't enough proof. They also argued that who the hell's to say somebody else didn't do it?
I mean, it's just odd in such a close-knit community. Who would really have a vendetta against this man? Yes, of all people that could have, should have, it would be Timmy. But not everyone whose person leaves them or cheats on them or leaves them, has an affair, whatever, commits murder.
Well, no. Truer words have never been spoken. You heard it here first, folks.
But, oh my God, what if it was the woman?
I did think about that.
Oh, shit.
So they pointed jurors towards Bryan's friend, Larry H.
He was with him having the steak. No.
I don't think so. He was described that at that time when Bryan was murdered, that Larry was in a dark place at the time. His wife was leaving him. He was heavily drinking. And a suicide attempt, and he tried to do a suicide attempt involving animal medication. So in later reporting, investigators said that they did not look at him seriously. Oh, I'm sorry, that they did look at him seriously, but they ultimately discounted him. But the defense then highlighted something else. The morning after the body was found, witnesses said that Larry cried in a counselor's waiting room and described crime scene details, especially the claim that Bryan was shot with his own gun before, according to the defense, that was common knowledge.
So how would he have known? And I'm sorry, let me just get this straight. Larry is Tummy's friend or Bryan's friend?
Bryan's friend.
Freaking Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Which then makes, well, I won't say it. What if, I'm going to say it. What if it was like Larry was not good drinking, was really wound up and upset. Why he would be at Bryan's, I'm not sure. But like, well, he was his friend. But like, he was trying to commit suicide. Bryan tried to get the gun away from him, and then he went like ballistic. Doesn't quite sound like someone who's trying to commit suicide, but you don't know.
You don't. That's what the defense is saying. You don't know.
No.
So Larry rejected the implication of guilt and suggested that he was in shock and he just misspoke. And investigators later described his shifting descriptions as unreliable smoke. So, then came one more unsettling detail that the defense used to widen the pool of plausible suspects. Testimony that unidentified DNA was found in the underwear that Bryan was wearing when he died. Now that's bizarre.
And do we know who the
Excuse
DNA
me?
belongs?
It's unidentified
But
DNA.
male or female?
I thought you were going to say, but do we know? No. Unidentified.
Fully.
As far as I'm aware. So this raised the possibility of maybe there was yet another relationship happening. And another jealous person in the community might have had motive. So maybe Bryan was with it yet again another woman. I guess, or man, but we'll say another woman.
Big Lair. Who knows, man?
Well, who knows? Yes.
But fine.
So that, of course, is saying, like, you know, who else realistically had both motive and the opportunity in that tiny place? But we don't know.
True.
So, reportedly, after all this was going down, the jurors deliberated for nearly 8 hours.
Oh. That's a doozy.
Before returning the non-guilty verdict.
Oh.
I still think they
Wowza.
made the right decision.
After hearing everything, it's a lot. You're making
You can't go
so
on
many
vibes,
assumptions.
you know? I'm sorry, you just can't.
And they said it was circumstantial. I mean, which I think is even dicier evidence that many decades after the fact, too, like you were saying.
Yes. So, non-guilty. In broadcast reporting, the moment is described as emotionally explosive in two directions at once because relief and tears were coming from Tommy's family and a renewed wave of loss and anger from Bryan's family. Like the case was reopened for no reason. The aftermath did not bring consensus, if anything. It just hardened both sides. So the investigator who carried the case for years said later that a not guilty verdict didn't change what many locals already believed. Of course, yeah, we get it. We get it. People tended to think that Tommy did it. Either people thought Tommy did it or didn't. Well, yeah, everybody thinks that.
Absolutely.
And he said people who thought one side or the other rarely switch sides regardless of the evidence, which I believe as well.
Mm-hmm.
People go with their feelings, their gut.
Was the prosecution then going to file charges against somebody else then, or we're just done here?
Well, I think they're done.
Oh my God.
So the prosecutor stated his belief bluntly, and he said that the suspect got away with murder. So meanwhile, the trial judge, this I can say, Greg Pinsky, he described the case as extraordinarily difficult to prove. It was difficult in 1998, and it was freaking harder in 2015.
And it was the same judge? No.
Well, I don't think it ever went to trial.
I was just going to say he
Right.
didn't have charges brought against him. Yeah.
So when he spoke about what troubled the jurors, a theme emerged that shows up again and again in cold case trials: the time gap. Basically, jurors wanted to know why after 19 years. Now tell me why. That it was being tried again, and many expected some new scientific breakthrough had to be the reason. So when they're finding out, it's like, no, actually, we just really think it happened. They're not
Doesn't
into it.
stick. No,
Right.
No.
So-
No one's going to hang their hat on that.
So obviously, as we went through all this, if you listen to the prosecution narrative, it's a story about obsessive behavior, escalating intimidation, and a Friday night window of opportunity, hang-up calls, stalkerish behavior, la 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 la. If you listen to the defense, it's a story about how an investigation can be crippled right at the beginning if people don't treat it respectfully enough. They can misread a scene, they can discard evidence. There's no fingerprints, no DNA. They don't even know when the man died. To this day, no one actually knows who fired those shots at Bryan that fateful, I would say evening, but we don't know.
Exactly.
Morning, afternoon, or night. Friday, or Saturday. So,
Well, this one is certainly perplexing.
it certainly is.
And I hate that there's just no one. Like, there's no closure for that family, for Bryan. It's just, that's it. We're not going to know. And so be it.
Well, as we always say, I hope Bryan is resting in peace.
Absolutely.
And, I just think hearing about this courtroom, whatever you want to say, experience, I feel like that was, I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't feel frustrated by it. I feel like it's almost like reassuring. Like, you can't just say, 'cause someone fits this,
They did it.
we're doing it. It's like, I feel like, I feel like we're just at a point where I just can appreciate that it's like, no, you actually have to prove a case.
Innocent until
Right.
proven
It's not just,
guilty.
it fits, so let's
Automatic.
do it.
Mhm.
And I feel like I have a lot of respect for that jury who,
Called it right.
right. Well,
Hopefully.
we don't know, but
Mhm.
called it right in the sense that there was not any proof.
Mhm. If Tommy truly is innocent, then I am happy. Hippie. And
Well,
like
obviously.
you said, we'll never know. But if that is someone who truly was innocent and avoided becoming incarcerated for years and years, sitting there, whatever, innocent, that's absolutely terrible. And I'm happy if he was spared that, and, rightfully so, if justice was served in that way. But Bryan's death, I'm still not totally certain Tommy's innocent. I definitely think it is
Well,
possible.
Nor is the world.
Right. But it breaks my heart that it just is really bothersome to me that there's no information, which happens, of course, all the time in a murder, but nothing definitive as to who actually did this then.
All right. Well, that wraps up today's episode, everyone.
Good job,
So,
man.
thanks.
Thank you.
So, we hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And obviously, we will catch you next time around. And Until then,
Stay safe.
and stay chill.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. You've just listened to Chillworthy. Thank you for joining us on this latest episode. While we strive to keep our discussions engaging and lighthearted, we also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the real lives and events that are at the heart of these stories.
We try to approach each topic with a sense of curiosity and respect, fully aware of the impact these events have had on the individuals and their loved ones. Our goal is to honor their memories by keeping their stories alive and shedding light on the mysteries that surround them.
If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, and don't forget to join us on the next episode of Chillworthy.